Good evening all and welcome to another video on All How the Ale. It's Saturday night, which means it's craft beer night. And the beer we're going for tonight hails from Nottingham. It's from Neon Raptor. This one, it is Boltgun Pale Ale. And as you can tell by the artwork, it is themed around Warhammer 40,000, particularly the Boltgun. And the ABV, as you may have seen, was 4%, stylised to look like 40,000. Anyway, there's not an awful lot I can tell you about it. I picked it up from Warhammer World with the crazy James Workshop applied tax, shall we say. Good old James. You like to make your prices high, but nevertheless I paid a pretty penny for this one. And there's not a lot of information on the can other than the fact that it's 4% ABV. There is no clue as to the hop content, other than the fact that it's 3 out of 5 on the hop scale, or the hopometer, as they call it, right there. Otherwise, you've got some pretty cool kind of synth-wavy style bolt guns and bolt pistols on the can, and beer inside it. So, without further ado, let's get it out into a glass and see if it's heretical, shall we? Be a lively one there for a second. It's a very full can. We're going to pour into my vocation glass because we can. I don't have any Neon Raptor stuff. And the pour is pale. Very pale. Let's leave it there. A little hazy. Way too many bubbles on my glass. So what we got? We've got a golden yellow pale ale. Slightly hazy. And a nice white head that is being fed fairly nicely from the nucleation points at the bottom of the glass. Let's have a whiff. Interesting. It's more malty than I was expecting. It's not saying there's any hops missing, but it's got that real distinctive craft pale malt with some slightly citrusy hops behind it. Yeah, it smells alright. So, looks alright, smells alright. Let's see what it tastes like. Cheers. Body's medium, carbonation is robust. It doesn't taste like corpse starch, which is a good thing. It tastes like a pretty decent pale ale, namely well balanced, good malt presence, lightly hopped, I'd say. It says 3 out of 5 on the hopometer, but I'd say it's more on the lighter end. That said, they're slightly citrusy, a little bit creamy. It's a very sensibly positioned pale ale. It's light, it's refreshing, summery, slightly citrusy. Not bad. Not bad at all. The finish is clean, light, erring towards the malts more than it is the hops, but yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's not heretical. It's very much from Rowboat Girly Man's Codex Astartes. It's very by the book, very safe, very appeals to many, I guess is the way to put it. Now, I think Neon Raptor should do more beers akin to various Primarchs of the Space Marine Legions, and give them all personalities of their own. But this one's okay. So, scoreboard of joy. It's currently void of anything. Let's fill it in, give it some points, shall we? With the red pen of judgment. Red of the Blood Angels. Red of the 40k World Eaters. Who knows? I'm more on the 40k World Eater side. or Dark Angels, but it's not a green beer, it's not a green pen. So, visually, it's not a bad looking beer. It looks like a decent pale should, namely it's golden, pale, ever so slightly hazy, and a nice looking white head. There's nothing really to dislike about that as a beer. So I'm going to give it a full point for the visuals. The aroma, it's light, balanced, slightly citrus leaning hops, but a good malt presence on the nose. It works, and I like it. I like it. It's not perfect. I would want more. I just want more oomph. I want more of those hops that I know are in there. I'm going to give it the 0.75. The body is right for the ABV. It's medium-ish with good, robust carbonation. It's not OTT. It's pretty spot on, really, for where it should be. So I'm going to give it a full point. And the taste is balanced. It leans more towards the malt for me than it does the hops. But I do like the slightly citrus edge that the hops have. I like the balance. And I like the very soft bitterness that exists. It's very easy drinking, very safe, very Codex Astartes. As I mentioned, it's having a full point for that, though, because I like it. It's a good sessionable beer. And the finish on a good pale, I want them to be hoppy. I want them to be long, and I do want some bitterness. This is not overly hoppy. It's more juicy. It's sweet. It's lacking bitterness. And for me, that's arguably the weakest point of the beer. That's not to say it's weak, but it's the weakest point of this beer. I'm going to give it the 0.5. It's still good, but it's not brilliant. So that is 4.25 out of 5 from me. So bonus point time. It can't have the full bonus because it didn't get a full 5 out of 5. Would I buy it again? That's a jolly good question. I don't know. For me, it's a little bit on the safe side. It's inoffensive, but it doesn't float my particular boat for one that I would want to go and buy again. So in this instance, I'm going to say a rare no, but it's not a bad beer. It's just not for me. Value for money. It's got the Warhammer James Workshop tax, and I know I paid over the odds for it. I'm going to say no on the value for money on that one. Because, like I say, everything is expensive at Warhammer World. So, yeah. So, 4.25 out of 5 from me, which, you know, it's a good score for a beer that I wouldn't buy again. It's a very good score for a beer I wouldn't buy again. Why am I not buying it again? Because it's just not my cup of tea when it comes to a pale ale. And giving it a good score, you say? Well, that's because I'm objective. It works for the style. It's just not for my palate as a lover of hoppier, more bitter beers. And there are many hoppier, more bitter pale ales in and around the 4% ABV mark. But that's not to say this is not a good beer. It's a very sensible, safe choice that most people would like. You know, or even if they didn't like it, they would find it inoffensive and drinkable, and it is. It's very drinkable beer. But I just want a little bit more from my pale ales. So there we go. So, if you go to Warhammer World and you like your pale ales on the lighter, more sensible side, more Codex Astartes confirming, then Boltgun Pale Ale is one for you. And we'll leave it there and say, that's been the beer. I've been me. Those down there are the buttons. You know exactly what to do with them by now. You've got your like, comment, dislike, and subscribe. Choose any combination of them, even as you wish. And I'll see you again soon for another one. Bye for now.